Have you ever really thought about what's happening inside your body when you get a cut or a scrape? It's not just a little scab forming, it's an incredible microscopic construction project, a process so perfectly coordinated it makes the symphony orchestra look, well, kind of chaotic. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this amazing biological marvel. Let's get into it.
Think about it. A paper cut, a scraped knee, even a broken bone. We've all been there, right? 1 second everything is fine and the next, bam, you're injured. But that exact moment of damage triggers an emergency response system inside you that is, and I'm not exaggerating, absolutely breathtaking. So we're going to follow that emergency call from the very first alarm all the way to the final sign-off. Okay, so this whole massive operation can be broken down into 4 main stages, and they actually overlap a bit. The best way to think about it is like a super fast construction project. First, you've got damage control. You got to stop things from getting any worse. Then the demolition crew comes in to clear the site. After that, the construction phase kicks off, laying down a new foundation. And finally, the finishing crew comes in to remodel and strengthen the whole new structure. That's our roadmap for this explainer.
So, let's start right at the beginning, at the very moment of impact. The instant you get hurt, an emergency call goes out through your body's intricate communication network. And this isn't just some generic alarm, it's a highly specific signal that mobilizes the first wave of responders almost instantly.
This brings us to phase 1, hemostasis. And really, this is all about damage control. The absolute first priority is to stop the bleeding. Your blood vessels clamp down right away to reduce blood flow. Then, these tiny cell fragments in your blood called platelets get the signal. They rush to the scene, get all sticky, and start clumping together to form a temporary plug. This plug is then woven together by a protein called fibrin, creating a clot that not only seals the wound, but also serves as a temporary framework for everything that's about to be built on top of it.
But here's where it gets really cool. The platelets do way more than just plug the hole. They're also the dispatchers. They release this potent chemical cocktail of what we call growth factors. You can think of these as the official work orders, summoning the next crews to the scene, the demolition team and the construction team.
And that dispatch call brings us right to phase 2, inflammation. Now, I know inflammation gets a really bad rap sometimes, right? We think of it as a bad thing, but in normal healing, it's absolutely essential. This is the demolition phase. This is where the site gets cleared of all the debris and any bacterial invaders, getting it ready for the rebuild. So let's meet the team.
So the cleanup crew has 2 main players. First on the scene are the neutrophils. Think of these guys as the aggressive frontline demolition team. Their job is to get in there fast, eat any invading bacteria, and start clearing out all the damaged tissue. They're incredibly powerful, but they burn out pretty quick. Then, about a day later, the macrophages show up. These are the site supervisors. They're more methodical. They clean up the mess left by the neutrophils, but their most important job is to manage the transition from demolition to rebuilding by releasing their own set of critical growth factors. Once those macrophages give the all-clear signal, we move into what I think is the most exciting phase, proliferation, the construction phase. The demo's done, the site is prepped, and now it's finally time to lay a new foundation and start building brand new tissue. And the heroes of this phase, they're called fibroblasts. These are literally the construction workers of your body. Drawn in by all those growth factor signals we've been talking about, they swarm the injury site and they get right to work. Their main job is to produce and lay down a new tissue matrix, which is basically the very substance of your new tissue. And what are they building with? Well, the main material is a protein called collagen. It's like the steel and concrete of your body. Now, at first, the fibroblasts just lay it down kind of quickly and messily, creating what's called granulation tissue. But this initial scaffold is vital because over time, it's going to be strengthened and reorganized to create the new, strong structure.
So while all that construction is happening on the inside, something else amazing is happening on the surface. Epithelial cells, your skin cells, from the edges of the wound start migrating across that newly built tissue. They crawl from all sides until they meet in the middle, forming a new, protective top layer. When you look at a cut and you see it closing up, this is exactly what you're watching. It's the most obvious sign that the construction is right on schedule.
All right, on to the final phase, which really shows us that the job is not over just because the hole is filled. This is phase 4, remodeling. It's the longest and maybe the most subtle part of the whole process. This is where the new tissue is refined, strengthened, and inspected. You see, that initial kind of hastily built collagen scaffold is not the final product. Not even close. Over months, and believe it or not, sometimes even years, the body works to remodel it. Special enzymes come in and break down the disorganized collagen and replace it with a stronger, more organized structure that better resembles the original tissue. This is why a scar changes how it looks and feels so much over time.
This entire four-act play is just a masterpiece of biological coordination. It's incredible. But what happens when the orchestra is out of tune? What happens when this perfect system breaks down?
In some cases, a wound can become chronic. It essentially gets stuck and fails to move through the phases like it's supposed to. As this quote lays out, the process just becomes uncoordinated and incomplete. And most of the time, a chronic wound is stuck in that inflammatory phase, the demolition phase. The crew just keeps tearing things down over and over, but never gets the signal to start rebuilding.
And this creates a really vicious cycle. The environment inside a chronic wound becomes incredibly hostile. You've got high levels of these inflammatory signals and destructive enzymes that just chew up everything in sight. And that includes the very growth factors that are supposed to be signaling the construction phase. The cells themselves can just get exhausted and stop responding altogether. It's a self-perpetuating cycle of damage.
And that brings us to maybe the ultimate healing challenge for the body, nerve repair. And here we see this dramatic split. Nerves in your peripheral system, so like in your arm or your leg, they can actually regenerate pretty well after an injury. The environment there is really supportive. But in the central nervous system, your brain and your spinal cord, regeneration pretty much fails completely. And a huge reason why is that after an injury there, other cells form a dense glial scar that basically acts like a brick wall, a powerful physical and chemical barrier that just stops any new nerve fibers from growing. Which leaves us with this final thought. Our body's healing process is a biological symphony perfected over millions and millions of years. The challenge for science and medicine now is to learn that music so well that we can become the conductor, correcting the process when it goes wrong in a chronic wound, or even teaching the body a whole new song, like how to regenerate nerves right past that glial scar and repair a damaged spinal cord. The score is already written in ourselves. We just have to learn how to read it.